morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who is attending. This is the East Central and South Africa Microsoft Excel Forum, brought to you by Crisp Excel. These are our partners. So our presenter for today is none other. He has agreed to come back. Carlos Barbosa is a data consultant, a Microsoft MVP, a guru in data modeling, corporate training, and data visualization. As usual, I'll share with you the social media handles. If you are not following him on LinkedIn, you are missing. If you are not following him on YouTube, you're also missing. If you have never watched this session that he had with Nick, then you are also missing a lot on what data visualization is all about. So today we are continuing with what we started some months back, creating charts with dynamic array. So this is part 2. So you need to watch part 1, but I think even this part 2 makes sense. So Carlos, welcome, and I'll stop sharing and then you can start.
Okay. So I'll start sharing now. Okay. Hello,
Yes.
everyone. My voice is a little bit just how do you say? Because I'm going through a cold, but it's okay. We'll make it through. I was not going to cancel. So okay. So Crispo, first of all, should I resend the link that I sent you about the files so people can download the files?
I'll share. Let me reshare the.
Okay. So Crispo is about to put a link on the chat for everyone, so they can you can download the files. And can everybody see my screen? If you can just say thumbs up or just yes, that will be sufficient. So that way, just to confirm.
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
Okay. And then what we're about to see is we're gonna build this. We're gonna build. So, for example, if you were to just move the bar, this is like a bar chart, and it tells you the sales of each individual. Well, in this case, let me just turn my monitor to here. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So on this one, what I'm trying to tell right now, this is a bar chart, and each individual bar is a person, the sales of a student. Okay. Fictitious data, of course. But right now, the week that these sales are is on week 5, okay? And then, for example, Maria has made 80%, 24% of her quota, of her sales quota, and she has 73% left. So as you move forward on the weeks, for example, 6, now Myra has 27, and 7 now she has 40%. And as you move forward, she may move rank up or maybe down. That's the beauty of it. And this is dynamic because in a bed, this is a special, it kind of like inspired from the bar chart. Maybe you have seen this on social media. It's kind of famous. It's kind of nice because it just tells you how values have moved across time on a bar chart. And it's kind of nice because you may have your own, for example, country or your team, and you see how the team is moving across rank, across time. So it's nice. When it's too fast, it doesn't help that much. But when it's kind of slow, you can just tell and maybe follow along. Maybe also when you have too many colors too, it's hard to pay attention to all the hues. Hue is just another name for color. So that's why on my example, I just use one hue because I kind of like want to do this effect. When you go to the movies or the theaters, back in the day, usually they had this, they had this like the spotlight, right? And this is good because you can follow the circle. Your eye is following the circle right now. And this is what I'm doing the same effect, but for data visualization. So in order for me to do that, I just highlight one item. But on this example, okay, just in case, because this is a bonus for you, for the people attending. How about if we wanted to highlight 2? Why? Because on the example that is on my website, you can only highlight 1. So on this webinar, I'm gonna teach you a logic we call it logic, but trick, hack, tip, whatever name you want to call it. And here on my website is actually the third example. When I started doing this in March of 2020, and you can see right now that that's the third example that we're about to see. But this one only had the option to select one item, just one person. But now here I said, no, let's do for this webinar for the African community. Let's just add one more level, not so hard, not so difficult, of difficulty, or maybe not difficulty, but an addition of adding or selecting two. So what do I mean? Again, let's just go back to the bar chart race. Is that when you see too many colors, again, it's hard to pay attention which one is the one that matters. Okay, and that's why I sometimes I like the bar chart, but the bar chart race. But I think on hue it just exceeds. So for example, I have one highlighted, but let's say I wanted to highlight John and Megan. So they're right next to each other. And now you can see that they're highlighted. And now look, if I move across time, they're moving. I can just have the two highlighted because maybe as a decision maker, I can compare the two and just see, highlight this and this. I just want to see them, how their sales move across these weeks. So they started at 20 on week 5, they started at 23 and 17. And as they move forward, Megan from the weeks were actually week 5 was on the 3rd position. Okay, although this is kind of nice too. I mean, well, not so intuitive, but for example, right here, Megan is on 4th place. You can just tell that it's on 4th place. But right now, it's telling you a 3, and you're like scratching your head, and you're saying, why is not saying a 4? Because the ranking, that number 3, is based on sales, based on this bar. And then this section right here is actually the leads, the potential sales that they may make. And I just wanted to add that fact because this actually was a real life example many years ago with a client that asked me, hey, look, I have a bar chart. I just want to look at it. And as we move forward, I want to see how my team is doing with sales. And I want to see how much is left to do. So that way, the ones that are really down here, I can go ahead and go and just ask him what's happening, why are you so low on your quota, what's going on. And then along with that, he asked me something I never done before, I never seen before, to be honest. And he asked me also, can you add another section that shows the potential sales, the leads pretty much, that really just tells me, hey, look, this is how much they've done, this is how much they could also make, like the potential sale with like a high probability they're gonna make that. That's what he also told me. So pretty much like show me this and what's also coming. Okay, so and that's that right here. This section right here, and then the difference. Okay, now there's a special effect here, which is the rest of it. I could have just done the bar chart and call it a day like this, and that's it. You do the bar chart and that's it. But I think adding the effect of the rest of what's remaining just adds a little bit of an intuition of that this is sort of like a thermometer chart where you have this and this is what's remaining. I think it's more intuitive. Just adding a gray and the highlighted gray for the highlighted items just to maybe show that. Let me know what you think about it. It's a small detail, I think. There's okay, I see a couple of people on the lobby here, Crispo, and that's why I'm trying to.
Yes. I'm admitting them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions until now? Any
I'm interested to see that effect. You see the small lines. The potential. Yes.
The potential. Oh, you will see. Super easy. Super easy to set up. You'll be surprised. Super easy. Now, one thing I wanted to share with you the completed file because I wanted to show you. This is all the agenda. Think of it like that. The agenda. We're gonna be talking about the logics, tips, and tricks. If I skip on any of them, call me out. Okay, please call me out. Hey, you didn't talk about number 4. What do you mean by number 4 or number 6 or 7 or 8? Okay. Okay, so this is it. And let's start. Let's begin. Um, well, the first thing that we need to begin with, sorry, because I have a sore throat and we're gonna make it happen. We want to move the slider just to see the effect here. For example, look, this slider right here that you see on screen is actually, and I'm just gonna switch the format, okay, just so it just looks more evident that it's a table slider, okay. Let's just make it blue, classic blue, okay, like this. Yeah, this is a classic blue, right? And look at this. When I click on Adriano, look at this cell right here, okay. I'm just maybe gonna put it on yellow. Okay, as soon as I switch maybe to Heidi, it's changing, okay, right here. And now look, and then if I switch and I select 3 maybe, ooh, look at that. Now I have a spill range right there, okay? And that's the formula. We'll see the formula in a bit, but you need to understand that there's a logic here, or the logic of filtering by tables, okay? So right there, if I select maybe Robert, and you see those 3, or maybe I can do non-adjacent selection, which is like, give me Adriano, give me Robert, give me Maggie, and give me Claire. And then you see all those 4 are selected and they're right there on this list right here. And this list is going into the chart. It's telling it, hey, highlight those, because right now, I don't know where my cursor is. Okay, right here, look at this. These DNAs right here, these are triggering the highlighting on the chart. And you can see, look at the person, Robert, Adriano, Maggie, and Claire. There we go. So how do we do this? How do we now step back? And now let's just maybe, yeah, just this, we want to put it back to gray. There we go. Perfect. And now maybe I am gonna just maybe, well, let's explain it with this one. Okay, let's just bring this slicer and we're gonna put it right here. There we go. Okay. And maybe we can make this screen bigger by, there we go. See, so first thing, just losing my voice a little bit. Sorry for this. Let's just zoom. Better. Okay, there we go. So just in case, this right here is not a pivot table slicer. It's a table slicer. Okay, it is being born from a table. Okay, and this table is a Power Query table that is being born from the data itself right here, from this data. And 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 sorry for that. And the thing is that, why do I want to show you? Because this offers the potential to make robust, integrated, and maybe pro solutions where we don't depend on highlighting on individual cells. We actually, right here on this logic, I'm actually referring to that's the column, okay, a structure reference here to that table that we were about to see. So this is why I think this is the potential solution that makes a very robust and scalable and integrative alternative for making dynamic charts in a very professional way. So then, now what I'm gonna do is about select everything. Okay, I'm just gonna select everything, or I can just click on this button right here. Maybe if I click Kimberly and then select on this button, I can just deselect everything. And now look at this. This is the logic. Pay attention to this, okay? Because potentially this may be useful for your reporting. I hope so. I really hope so. At least if you can take this and say, hey, look, I'm using this logic for chart, but I think you can use it for your reporting. All right. So the first thing is that we need to tell the let function right here, okay, the list. That's my first argument. I need to give him a variable, okay? And just in case, if you don't know the let function, you may need to check out the first video, the first workshop. But the let function is just a function where we define variables and then we reduce those variables to the calculation that we need. It makes our formulas to be elegant, to be more accessible, to be more readable, and actually debugging is easier because you define variables, and if a variable is not working, you can just target that variable and see why that is not working. So it's nice. So the first thing that I'm doing here, I'm defining student, okay, on column 2, and we're gonna build this from scratch, but I wanted to explain you this logic. right there. And then this one is called list. Okay, and this one is right here. Perfect. So what are we gonna be doing then on step one? Well, step one, I'm gonna tell it by row, okay, with lambda, okay, with the subtotal. Okay. Now, in order to understand this, because I know it probably looks so abstract and complicated, but please do not fear because it's super easy. The way to understand it better, actually, and look at this, look at these ones, okay? As soon as I click on Adriano and Beth, I get 1, 1, and 0, 0, 0. This is good because you know what this means for filter function. And if maybe I select John and Kenneth, look at this, 1, 1 because it's Adriano and Beth, and John and Kenneth, it's also 1, 1 here too for John and Kenneth. Yep, there we go. But the way this kind of like, in order for me to really understand this, I had a previous method which I called the the Mondegill method, you know, from Robert Mondegill on his website, clearly simply.com, where he actually built an entire dashboard with this logic, which is this. He added, not with Power Query tables, but with normal tables, he added an extra column that just says show. And then with the subtotal function, okay, you have a parameter that actually is called count A. Okay, but what are you gonna count A? Well, you wanna count A was visible, and this is interesting because, well, I just wanna put count A, yeah, count A, and then count A of what? Okay, what is the adjacent column, which is this one? So in essence, we are using the subtotal function to say if it's like filter or if it's selected, which is kind of nice because again, once I throw this subtotal, counting A, my adjacent column, I get the same ones over here that I get over here. But now, if I step back, and now maybe if I reference this entire column simply like this, okay, I'm gonna get the ones, ones, ones. Let's remove this and this. Yep, up to here right now. That's step two. And check this out. Look at this. As soon as I filter maybe these three, there we go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. I'm actually using this logic, the Mondegill approach, and then I'm actually then advancing it or with the Mark Proctor approach. Okay, I learned this from Mark Proctor from Excel the Grid, and actually I'll try to call the websites right now, Crispo. So maybe I'll throw in on the chat right now. Maybe in the meantime I'll open YouTube here and then clearly and simply.com in the meantime. So that way I can be more transparent, okay, and give the full credits. Okay, so now that you understand, look, the logic of the subtotal right here, okay, this is being referenced to the show column, and now the show column, again, look at this, we're doing the subtotal, okay, parameter 3 because we're using count A, okay. You could use count, but in this case, count A is more complete for me, this with numbers and text, so I just do count A, and then boom. It's like, think of it as like using subtotal function, like to check if something is filtered or if something is visible. This is nice. And we're gonna bring this subtotal logic into with the lambda and by row. So that way we don't have to, and let me step back now and delete this. Don't depend on this column that we have put it. Why? This is a good question. Because some people are fearful that if you do this on a Power Query table, okay, a table that is born from a query, and we're gonna build it, that once you maybe add another column, this new column is gonna override the one that we have that we have put manually, the show column, and it doesn't happen. I'm not sure if this is a bug or or a feature, but what Power Query does is actually move this column that we added show and moves it to the right. And then if we add to another column, moves it more to the right, and that's it. It doesn't override it, okay? But okay, I understand the concern. So I would say that you want to approach the Mark Proctor way with this approach with the by row, okay? Look at it right here. Oh. With the by row, we have used the subtotal function that we put right here. Remember the 3, and items is actually the row that we reference here, okay? Just in case. I'm gonna go through this formula again. But this is the way to do it if you don't want to add the show column that we have put here, okay? This will be the Mark Proctor way, okay? And then the other one that I show you here will be the Mondegill way. Now, when to use either? I would say, this is my opinion, that use the Mark Proctor way when the table or the values of this table right here are dynamic. If they're gonna shrink or expand, then go ahead with the Mark Proctor way. It's safer or more protected. But if you're gonna be dealing with tables that are totally fixed, that they're not gonna change at all, like for example, a table that tells you ascending or descending order, or a table of fixed parameters that are not going to change, there's nothing dynamic in them, then you can do just a basic table and then add the show column here and add the ones and then proceed with the subtotal that way. And also it's the same approach. So one, use the Montague approach for like fixed tables, but for dynamics tables, then the Mark Proctor way. So I'm right now just calling here the videos, Excel off the grid, and I'll throw them on the chat as soon as I see them, okay? All right. Let's go back to the formula, because now here on the step one, we know that we're selecting that list, and now with the by row, we're iterating, okay? We're going through that list or all the items of that list right there, okay? By each item, I mean this, 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 and this, with the lambda function, a company, and we're telling it, hey, look, on the lambda, go through each item and perform this operation, subtotals 3 items. So what it's doing is, let's just maybe do 2, there we go. Go and do this, check. Is it count A? Yes, it's shown, then put a 1. Is it showing? Yep, count 2, put a 1. If it's not showing, okay, if it's not showing right here, and that's what the subtotal tells you, that's why it's nice, because if it's hidden, then it will tell you it's a 0. There's nothing to count. And that's why you're seeing right here the special effect of showing you 3 items, and you see the 1 for Adriano, and then these 3 for these 3. Any questions until now? This is pretty much the logic. I hope I hope I explained it well. And here the next step is to actually just filter the ones, not filter the zeros, and I'll explain that later. But I wanted to see if hopefully I have transmitted well this logic. I hope I did. Any questions? Find the video.
There's no question, but I was thinking if you can, for somebody who has not used the let function before, if you can sort it so that when you are filtering, and the let would have all the ones at the top and then the zeros, and then step 2 they will be matched with the data that is being filtered. Am I making sense?
Yeah, that's true. It's just that, for example, here well, you got ahead of myself. Just in case, the next step right here, where Chris was going with about sorting the ones, putting them all together. Well, not really needed, because then the step 2, because here, just in case, these 2 formulas, this one is just an expansion of this one. I just wanted to explain step 1, okay, and then to step 1, we're gonna go and now tell it, hey, look. Step 2, okay, grab filter, okay, that list, which is this list right here, okay, and then proceed with step 1. But that's it. But what is the step 1 having? Well, it is having the 1 and zeros right there. There you go, 1 and zeros. So basically, if you give filter 1 and zeros, it's just gonna return you the ones, because it's a Boolean logic. And that's it. It just tells you, then it returns you Adriano, Heidi, John, and Kenneth, because of this selection right here. So no need to sorting in this case. But say that you're saying, if I needed without the left function, well, without the left function, you would need to have multiple columns to get the same result. And again, you grab the last column that has your final output, which will be this. Yeah, without the left function. I wanted to promote the let function, and hopefully I'm not derailing on the agenda, because the let function, and I think we're on actually we have jumped a little bit on number 5. The let function really allows you to do this. It really allows you to just jump in and kind of like assemble couple operations instead of having helper columns into one. But helper columns is sacrosanct. It's definitely worth to understand it and to break it maybe by columns to understand it, and then put it all together once we understand what's happening. Yeah. So yes, it's a good call, Crystal. Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay. And just in case, the logic here on the completed file is the same thing, but for weeks. Same logic. Okay. There we go. Now, just to be clear, for the video that I show you here this is a uh, here on this video right here on the filter function by Mark Proctor. Here it will tell you the trick of filtering by list right here on minute 5 around there, and he will tell you right there that logic of by row, and I think it's a little bit farther, and you will see it eventually. Now it's like around here. So, oh, actually, sorry, this is the second video. So sorry. The first video is where he actually shows you if I didn't explain it correctly, or if you want to complement this one right here. Slicer, slicer selection function right there in detail. Just 10 minutes on that. So go to Mark Proctor's YouTube channel, a lot of good stuff. So what I'm gonna do now is to copy this, and I'm gonna throw it in the chat for you so you can save it. Also, there you go. And then the other video is for another item that we're gonna talk that actually allows us the multiple selection, actually multiple comparison in order to get the multiple highlighting. We'll see that in a minute. And then you still see my screen. I just sent you that video. And what I'm gonna do in order to just send the other one, which is the filter function here, and leave that for the meantime. There we go. And then I think we can close this. And then for the other function or the other logic right here, you go to archive, I believe, and we go to maybe, I know when he started blogging again, it was around March, and right here, around March of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, Robert Mondigal talked about using table slicers for Excel dashboards. Phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. You really need to check out. But this was the showcase post, okay, where he actually built this entire dashboard with that simple logic of adding an extra column to show with the subtotal function to show data or not to show data. Amazing stuff. Just with that. But there's a post more introductory where he actually says, or he goes into detail about the logic, which is this one right here. So this is what I'm gonna send you on the chat for you to have as well. All right, we are clear on those two items. We can close this, and I'm not sure what is this. Yeah, we'll close this too. And then yep, and now right, perfect. So now I'm gonna bring back this, and now I'm just gonna do this. And now let's step back. Completed file is a little bit messed up, but it will be back to normal. And we're gonna go now jump into the other file. Oh no, wait, we need to select this one. There we go. Yeah, you see those items multiple selected. Okay, there we go. So now let's jump into the demo file. There we go. And the first item of the agenda is the tables, use tables. Okay, perfect. So the first thing that you want to work with Excel charts is that your best friends is going to be tables. Tables is going to really help you to make your referencing more robust and more clear and accessible. So the first thing we want to do here is actually turn this small data set to a table. So how do we do that? We select it all and then Control T, okay? Control T, and I ask you, hey, do you want to create a table? And you say, yes, this is my range, and does your table has headers? This is most of the time checked. You click OK. And now step back, and if you are on the new versions of Excel, you're probably getting this formatting by default. I unfortunately still don't like it too much, but I switch it to go to page layout, and then on colors right here, page layout first, then colors. I go and select this option right here, which is 2013, 2022. Perfect. Now click on the table, and now on table design, which is the last contextual tab, and it's a tab that only appears, okay, this one right here, if your active cell is inside a table. Okay, and then there, I'm just gonna switch to a pale gray, just like that. I'm boring. Sorry. I just for the data, just for that, and that's it for 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 this item. Now, the other cool thing about tables is that it really works nice with Power Query. For example, now on this table, we're gonna send it to Power Query to create that table that we saw that is making the filtering, and also for the weeks. But before doing that, we also want to tell you a good practice that I follow as a consultant is to enumerate your work or organize your work, keep your work organized in chunks in a way that is accessible for you to then review. So one thing that I do, and this is personal, okay, and this is a tip, is that I actually, for example, go to the name manager, and because I created a table, by default, Excel pulls a table one. So what I'm gonna actually do is edit it, and I'm actually gonna edit that name and delete that and put 01 data. Okay, and that's it. That's my first sort of action. I have converted this to a table, and I'm gonna be working with data. Perfect. Click close. Step back. And now, before proceeding, I'm actually gonna add a couple of a couple of calculated columns here to keep the problem simple, okay? Because we could have done it with adding this, but it just complicates more uh, the uh, the following formulas. So the first thing that I want to do is that I actually want to grab a sales quota, okay? So for example, here, okay, maybe let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. Sales quota. And the sales quota is that they have to reach 320, okay? And think about these sales as units. They have to reach 320. So 320 is gonna be like the quota for the remaining of the time. It's gonna be you need to reach 320. Maybe if you make it in 2 weeks, awesome. But if you're gonna take, it's gonna maybe take you 8 weeks. So, but the quota is gonna still remain the same. Then the next column is gonna be sales plus well, plus leads, okay? Which is actually just adding this column with this column right here. Perfect. And we get a 37, 34 plus 3, 37. The next column is a bit of a progress column, okay? Progress column where we actually tell it, hey, look, how much sales have been done from the sales quota? Okay, 9%. And now, what is the potential progress? Which, as I mentioned in the other side, yeah, I just want to make sure it has a space, and it has a space here, so that way for the formulas to work. Okay. And the potential sales is just the lead sales divided by the quota, right there, sales quota. You can see. And also look at this. This is also a benefit of point number one, because I'm dealing with tables. I'm also taking advantage of the benefit of a structure reference. You see the at sign and you see the name of the column. You're not seeing F14 or E14. No, you're seeing the name of the column. This is nice. I think it does take a bit of time to get used to, but it's nice because it's just more legible to instead of working with F14 and E14. Okay. And now plus enter, and we need one more column, which is gonna be the full column. Okay, full 100. Okay, sorry here. 1 second. Okay, and this one, this one probably is the one that it is a bit of it is necessary, because here the thing is, I just wanna open my file here so I don't mess up. I need to tell this column to sort of say, hey, look, once you reach 100, stop, 0. Just give me a 0. But if not, just tell me what's the remainder. So let me just build it right here. If, and I need to do a parenthesis, internal parenthesis, and just say, hey, look, with the progress percentage, yeah, plus the potential percentage, okay, and we add those two and compare if it's greater than or equal than 1. Right. Comma. I'll enter. I very promote this, like making your formulas legible with all enter and spacebar. Now, if that's true, put a 0, meaning like stop, comma, then proceed with the following, with just telling me 1 minus Okay, 1 minus and close, open the parentheses and do the progress minus, oh no, actually plus in this case, the potential. Yep. And are we good there? Yep. And then close the parenthesis here. Okay. And now that's gonna give us boom, this full 100% right here. We're gonna use this column right here because this is the one that we're gonna help us on the chart. You'll see in a minute. But right now the logic is, hey, look, if it's greater than 100, like the addition of the progress made with the potential progress, then cancel and just stop at 0. When is it going to stop at 0? Well, if we just filter 0 here, we'll see that, look at the last column or at the last weeks of data, that many people already have completed their sales. For example, Kimberly, if you add the progress made plus what she potential made, she already graded 100. She still haven't made that sale, but most probably will make it because that was the logic that the potential sales to be made. So you add those two and it gives you 100 and yeah, but over 100. And because of that, cancel out and just give 0. But what about, for example, if you have this one, for example, here, this one, well, all of them are going to be 100 in this case. I don't think there is no minus in this case. Yep. Click clear that. Any questions on that? Let me know, please. But that column is necessary, okay? And I'll explain further something else, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself in order to complement that. Probably the most abstract point of all this.
I think it's clear, and the formulas are simple to understand. It's a simple if formula.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to copy here, just in case, because as you can see, these columns are a little bit, we're just going to try to keep it all consistent with. So what I'm just going to copy from the completed file is this, in case we have to come back to this part right here. And I'm just going to put right here. Yep, right there. So it's completed. So you can see the complete name of the column names, okay? Just for sakes. Perfect. Then, okay, now we can proceed with the first, and now we're following the agenda here because I think number two is about enumerating our work, which now we're about to sort of say and enumerate the second table and also the fourth, which I need something that tells me dynamically my unique items from my data itself, okay? This is what's cool because now we can go click this table, go to data, go to Power Query or from table and range right here. There we go, click that button. Now it takes us to another universe and Crispo can agree. Power Query is another beast of Excel. Many people don't know it, and I hope with this video we can just tell you that you need to know about Power Query. Either simple queries to advanced queries, but you need to know it because it will help you to clean data that is very prevalent on our work. All right. So then now we go ahead and right here on this Power Query table, the first thing that I'm gonna do is gonna go to properties here, and I'm just gonna delete this and just pull it to students. Okay. I believe call that, and I'm gonna step back, and I'm gonna just click and do this through the user interface to keep it simple. Click that on the student column, right click, remove other columns, right click, remove duplicates, right click this and sort it so it's alphabetically, and then define it the change type, which is text right there. Boom, right there. And now we have number 2, which is my second column. Okay, again, enumerating my work. And now I'm about to close this, close and load, but I'm actually gonna say close and load 2. And I'm just gonna say, hey, look, on a table, on a new worksheet. Perfect. There we go. And it's actually gonna put it there. So the other thing is that you wanna do for this, because sometimes Power Query does automatically adjust the columns, and this gets people annoyed. So the thing to do this is to go to table design and go to properties. Okay, click properties. Once you do that, there's an option right here that says auto adjust column width right here, that one. So click it there and deactivate it. By default, it's gonna be activated, but deactivate it. Click OK. Step back. Now this table right here, we can just move it a little bit to select it all and move it just a little bit just for margin sakes and just leave it there. Now, the next thing we want to do to this table is to add a slicer, the slicer that we saw on the previous part for the logic. And you go to table design and then you enter a slicer. And it tells you from which column. Well, it only has one column. And click OK. And now we just format it a little bit by increasing the columns right here. So I'm just gonna increase it to 7 columns, and you can see it down how it's moving. Now step back. So because we have 14 items, it's even 2 rows, 7 items on one row, 7 items on the second row. And as soon as I'm filtering this, look at this. Okay, there we go. Now you know the logic behind it that we're gonna now use to connect the two, the slicer with the logic of filtering. Now, to this slicer, once you put him, you also get a generic name. It just tells you, hey, look, for that slicer, a slicer student. So me being a little bit too, I guess, too extreme, I'm just gonna enumerate that too. So I know that, okay, there was a step, like sort of a step 3 saying slicer student. I'm just gonna actually reverse this and just put 03 student slicer. There we go. Oh, well, there we go. Okay, and delete this underscore. Click OK. And this is actually complying with point number 1, or actually number 2 on our agenda, which is enumerating or documenting your work. Okay, look at that. Number 1, 2, and 3. Now click close. Step back with the summit. And now I'm gonna bring this slicer and cut it and actually put it right here. And now for this table right here, I'm actually not gonna leave it 01 student. I'm actually gonna put filtering tables. So, and again, I'm just kind of like telling you, hey, there's potential of making this a professional thing. Like a lot of people do financial modeling, a lot of people do cleaning data, and charts is also another field within Excel. But if like you want to make this all dynamic and all that, well, these filtering tables, you don't want to have them on the worksheet of the data or the worksheet of the calculations or the worksheet of where the chart or visualization is. You may want to have it on a separate worksheet where all these filtering tables are hosted. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it right there for the meantime. I'm just gonna leave it and rename these filtering tables. Okay, you see that I also did that on the completed file. Maybe I just left this so we are aligned with lowercase f for filtering. Whoa, let me see now. Are we back? Here we go. All right, so the next one that we need is week filtering. Okay, we need the week to just tell us to filter the data, but by the week that they're going or moving forward. So what we can do is a little trick. We can go to the Power Query that we built, right click it, click edit, and then this is a bit cheap, but well, for the webinar, okay, we can just duplicate it. Okay, duplicate the query. The query, of course, is gonna give us 02 parentheses 2. Yeah, not good, not good. We need to rename that to be number 4 weeks. There we go. And press enter. Now we know that we're renaming, but we're gonna delete the steps and we're gonna go all the way up to source. And then once we're on source, we right click week, remove other columns, remove other duplicates, and sort it just in case, in ascending, and then define it as a whole number. And then that's it. Now we have the weeks. And again, we make all this so it's all dynamic. In case we have more data coming in, this and refreshing our workbook, the new weeks are gonna show on the slicer. And this is the way to do it. Now click close and load to. And I'm actually for this webinar, I'm gonna put it on a existing worksheet, and I'm just gonna put it right on below that. Now, again, not good practice. Again, click on the table, go to table design, go to properties. So we deselect the the adjust column width automatic. So we delete that. Now, again, here, good. I will say good caution. I'm doing this, but what I really do on my professional work is I actually, for each individual table, I put it on different worksheets. So for example, this week table, I actually put it on another worksheet, and the student table is on a separate worksheet. What do I mean? So I mean that, for example, I have, um, for example, something like this, student filtering, and that's where it's hosting the table, and I'll explain why, and then weeks filtering. Usually you don't have too much columns. Well, again, it's two worksheets, but they're separated. Okay, we're separating this table into this right here, and then the filtering weeks onto another worksheet. Why? The only reason, okay, is because maybe this table increases with new items because there's more data, then it's gonna collapse with this table right here. And the way, in order to prevent that professionally, is just to separate the things, you know. Now, people will say, "Oh, but how about if you just put the other table right next to it?" Well, the thing is that when you're about to debug, if you filter this column and you haven't filtered this one, you cannot see these items because this one is hiding because of the slicer selection, and is hiding rows that potentially may be not hitting by the weak slicer. So that's the sort of, you can potentially do a bit of this, but I don't like it either, because in case you have new items and then in those items are being hidden, then it's gonna may select or may hide this one that potentially is not being filtered. I hope I explained that well. That's why I separate this column to stay on its own worksheet, and then this other new Power Query table on another worksheet. And that way, when I'm debugging, I'm deselecting and selecting, and maybe if something has broken, it's easier for me to debug where the thing is, what's happening. Okay, because sometimes I seen this happen once. The person manually she had selected something with the slicer, and she manually also highlighted a bunch of columns and click hide, and there was a bit of a circuit break there because and once she told me that, then I told them, let's undo that action and now proceed with the filtering, and now the filtering start to work again. But again, I if she wouldn't told me that, I probably wouldn't have maybe noticed what was causing that the slicer wasn't bringing all the items into the selection that she was calling. So again, for this webinar, we just gonna leave it here, okay? Because we're not gonna add new data. But I just wanted to tell you that because I wanted to be fully transparent. Any questions until now, Crispo? Because now we do proceed with pretty much the formulas. We
No,
are
no question.
no questions. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we on the agenda, we are, let's say, just to see, we have talked about adjusting column width, and now we're gonna go with the subtotal Mark Proctor way. Again, the subtotal that I send you the video with the left function, and then the backbone formula. Again, number 6. That's coming up soon. We already saw the formula here, so we put it on M14. So let's do that on M14. Color these two cells. Okay, why do I color the cells? Because as soon as I, for example, if I put a sum here and say sum all this, oh, backspace, look at that. The space of the cell kind of increase. You see this is gray. If I don't color the cell, that will be a white. No problem. But I like to really have a dedicated background area to tell me where the formula is gonna, how big the formula is. And because coloring the cell, the expansion of that coloring expands according to the length of the formula. Let me show you an example. So now what I'm gonna actually go here and just say students, because we can do one selection or two, and then week selected. So selected, let's just put here selected week, and then here we're gonna do students in parentheses, because we can select one or two. So now we go ahead, and first thing we want to do is the list. Okay, the let is more. You want to really, hopefully you take home that you need to do a lot of lets on your formula. Okay, it really allows you to build formulas, to break them down and put them on variables, and then work with the variables. So the first thing, I'm just gonna do a list. What is my list? Well, check this out. Because I'm working with tables, another benefit is that I can use the intelligences and bring the elements of the table without selecting with the mouse, without selecting with the cursor. Okay. So I do underscore. Look at that. And now let's move this. It tells me, hey, look, which table do you want to refer to? Ooh, this is good. I want to do students, bracket, open brackets, and then it tells me which column of that table. Ooh, and then I tell them student right here, and then close bracket, and then that's it. I got my list, comma, because now the left function is actually telling you, and let me maybe zoom in. You need to do either a calculation or another naming. In this case, I'm naming, or actually I'm doing a calculation. Or on this one, I'm actually referring to a column. Okay, step back, and now let's bring this right here on top. I'll enter, spacebar, spacebar, spacebar until I get to list, and then I do step one. What is gonna be my step one? I'll enter spacebar up to here, and it's gonna be this by row, okay, of that list that I have a name with my variable, comma, I'll enter, and then lambda. Okay, the lambda is what makes it to be iterative, so I can go through each individual row. Okay, lambda items, yes, items, comma, items of the list. So that's why I put that name, list. And then I'm gonna do subtotal of 3, because 3 is the count A, remember, comma, and items. Okay. So going through the items of the list. Hopefully that's why I chose those names. So that's clearly and simple for folks to understand. Going through the items of a list. And then you close the parentheses of the subtotal, you close the parenthesis of the lambda, and then you close the parenthesis of the by row. Okay, it's telling me okay. Comma, I'll enter. And now what I'm gonna tell you is a step 2. I'm not finished. Step 2, comma, I'll enter. And then I'm gonna tell it filter. Filter, list, okay. And sometimes this happens. There we go, list, okay. Remember that list is this one right here. Filter it by the ones that you get on step 1. And that's what I'm doing. I'm now gonna tell them step 1 right there. Close parentheses. And the let function is, hey, look, you have on this name value 3, you have done an operation, you're doing the filtering, but you need to finish the let always with the variable. So in this case, or with the calculation, either or. I could leave it with it like filter in step 1, but the thing is, because I name it with step 2, I need to put step 2 again and close it with like this. Okay, maybe I'll enter just to leave a space, just for the sake of it again. And there you go. This is the formula right there. Any questions? Any questions? Again, you have the video of Mark Proctor where he actually explains it probably better than me. But I think it is a phenomenal tip, trick, logic, because it can help you with your reporting. Crispo, you were going to say something?
Yes. I like the way you use names like list and items. You know, I use X and Y. So
Yeah.
I'm learning something new. So I would have said lambda X and then some total.
By
I
any
like your
chance, do you?
explanation much better.
Oh, okay. By any chance, do you belong to the Bow tribe, where the single letter variables?
No, I'm more into Mark Proctor's tribe.
Okay, Max X. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. I'll tell you, it's nice because it makes things shorter when you're
Yeah.
writing your formulas. But I like, again. I think if I would have done that, people would say X, Y, and they get, list and items, and just for this
Yeah.
case, But yeah.
And then the way you name it, like step 1, step 2, I would have called it A, and then I would say lambda list X and Y. So sorry. I like your approach, and I think I'll be writing my formulas like this going forward. It
Thank you,
makes it
thank you.
easier to troubleshoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is more for the, to be honest, this is more for the webinar, the step one, step two, because usually
Okay.
I usually name this more of a, I could see the step one, but sometimes I either do like the list or the I sometimes use like filtering logic, something like this could be another name,
Ah, okay.
or
Okay.
or sometimes step one filtering, something like this. And I know
Okay.
it makes the name longer, but adding something to the step one is a bit of like adding a comment to the step, so that way I can know
True.
what is the step one doing. The other thing that I can do, but I don't really promote it because it just makes well, no, not that I promote it. Is that, for example, I can do XX or maybe CC and CC1 comma.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, CC1 is referring to a columns. I didn't know that. Wait, underscore CC1 comma, and then I add a comment here and say step one uh, defines was being filtered, something like this. Was being filtered.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Was being filtered. So it's my way of adding comments, comma, and then that's it. It doesn't really affect your code. It doesn't. It shouldn't. Okay. Yeah, there we go. See, it doesn't affect. Now, if I filter Adriano, look, and now Adriano and Claire, I know me, Beth and Claire. You see, it's working. And
Okay.
maybe this and this, it works. But yeah, some people, yeah, they just don't like it. They say, oh, adding this, but it really helps you. It really helps with memory, adding comments. If you can do that, it's a really good practice. But for this webinar, yeah, um, now you know how it's possible that to leave comments. So a bonus there for you guys. All right,
Okay.
so Control Enter. Anything else, Crispo?
No, no, nothing else, nothing else.
Okay, now let's proceed with the following, and now we go to the backbone formula, which in this case, mm-mm, for the backbone formula, I actually can go ahead and go to the filtering tables, and now click here, and the table design, I'm gonna throw a slicer. The slicer is just gonna be weak, and open this, and now we just gonna increase this and maybe make it up to whatever rows just makes it to be completely horizontal. In this case, 9 columns. As you can see, this is where you fix it right here, columns 9, so make it all horizontal. Eventually, the last item of the agenda is to make these slicers have a better look. All right, we're good there. Now I want to select 5, okay? On the completed file, I'm going to cut this, bring it, and put it right here for now. On the completed file, I'm seeing that I'm referencing filtering tables to E49. E49 would be, let's just maybe open this. E49 will be potentially here. 49, well, let's deselect everything. So I want to be consistent with the demo file. I wonder why did I put it so... Oh, I did put so low because I was explaining you the logic, okay? So maybe we'll try to be aligned for that, or maybe in this case, this is gonna be the only variant with the demo file, with the completed file, okay? Or actually, I'm just gonna put I'm not gonna reference it to E49 because on the completed file, I wanted to just reference in here because again, I'm telling you the same logic is here with the by row, just selecting one, okay? The cool thing is that in this case, this is what I wanted to, and this is why I add these columns more for explanation and more for you on the debugging. If you wanted to reverse engineer this, now you have it. Why I'm leaving this part right here. I go here and now I go to example, and what I can do is check this out. I'm gonna actually copy this formula. This was cool, and I'm just gonna put it right next to it, and I'm just gonna switch delete this. This is why it's cool working with tables. I'm just gonna put number 4. Ooh, we can see it right there. Table, open brackets, weeks or week, close bracket, and press enter. I just reduced the formula. Yes, because the let function allows me to that. The let function, I define the operation, which is going to be following the same logic for the previous one. And then I just switch the list. Instead of now being students, now it's week. Now, of course, here I can select 5 and 8 or 10 and it switches. But if I do multiple selection, it may carry over. So the only thing that I have to now do on my formulas on the backbone formula is that once I refer to this array, I'm not gonna refer to the complete array like this. No, I'm just gonna refer it to N13 and that's it. You can do that as well. You can just refer to a cell and usually the top of the array because potentially the user may multi-select, but in this case, if the purpose is just to just select one like this. Another thing I'll teach you how to kind of prevent that. For example, you can do there's a cheap hack, but it's a cheap one. But take it as a bargain. You can put like, for example, a couple lines right here, and then if, for example, the user multi-selects, well, yeah, it's not the same as the pivot tables. Usually with pivot tables, it would actually tell you, it will give you a warning message and say, hey, look, you're about to overwrite a table that is actually overriding some values that were below the table. Because of that warning message, at least you get that sort of signaling, hey, you cannot multi-select, you can only single select in this case. So in this case, I thought it would work, but no, it doesn't work with pivot tables. So okay, we're good there. Now we have these two. Now let's move these slicers here. And now go to student cell, P4 right here. There we go. And here, the first thing we want to do students. Just in case, I want to mention the coloring of the cell. Look at how the size of these cells right here, this expands. Okay, boom, it's expand. Like if I leave it white or no fill, it's nice. You still see the formula, but you don't know. This gets confused if this is part of the formula or if this is part of the formula. So that's why coloring. I used a gray. You can use the yellow, but look at the yellow how it will look. The yellow is it's a bit out there too. So I use something that is that can give you contrast, enough contrast to just give you this is the where the formula or how big the formula is. And I believe the gray kind of does a decent job on this. So now we come to the concept of backbone formula that is on the agenda is number 6. Okay. Here is, I want you to pay attention because again, this is a concept that I kind of figure out as I started building all these examples. Figure out that you bring all the complexity into one formula. The complexity coming from the filtering, okay? And the student formula that we want to put here is actually the super function that came out, which is called sort by. So what sort by does, and as it tells you on the description, it can sort an array based on another array. That's phenomenal because that's what we're about to do. We are about to do like sorting the students, okay, the position of the students based on a numerical column on their values, which is the full column in this case. So for example, now I'm gonna open the parentheses and I'm gonna tell it, hey, give me the unique items, okay, of a student 01 data. Let's move that. 01 data, open brackets, student, close brackets, comma, unique. That's the first part, comma, and then that's what we're gonna be sorting the list of students, and then the rest of the formulas carry over from this, and then the other part is gonna be sum if, okay, sum if, and then what do we want to sum? Well, we go to one data. See why is naming your naming your tables or or your reference, or really just naming really helps you because you can call them out. You don't have to select them with the cursor. So now on data here, I want to select the full column. Remember that was the full column that was the last one we built. And I'll enter. We wanted to give you the students. In this case, it's gonna be 01 data. Could have copied the first item, but okay. The rewriting it, comma, then unique of students. Uh, mm, 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 mm. And we close the unique. Okay, that's sort of pretty much the criteria. Okay, the criteria of right here, this one, the unique items to students for the criteria range, which in this case is students, and the sum range is this one right here, the full. Okay. Now we need one more thing because we have several weeks. We need to add another criteria, and that's why SUMIF is phenomenal because you can add multiple criterias. And this is what we're about to do, comma, enter. And right here we do data week. Well, open bracket, week, open bracket. I mean, close the bracket. And then we refer it to this array right here. But we're not referring to the whole array. We are just referring to that single top cell of the array. Okay. So that way, if the user multi-selects, nothing is gonna happen. But we need to tell the user that, hey, look, even if you multi-select on weeks, nothing's gonna happen. Okay. And you close the SUMIF. And now the last thing it's gonna tell you, okay, this is the by array argument right here. The SUMIF, okay, that numerical calculation right here is sorting the array that is right here, the students. And we need one more thing. We need the sort order. What do we want it by? Well, comma, we want it to be parentheses, to be minus, or you cannot see the other option, -1. We want it to be descending order, okay? And then there you go. Now you have Kimberly. And this pretty much right there is the backbone formula. That's pretty much for this example. There are two slicers going on here. It's actually is what's gonna like command here. Yes. Yep. Let's step back 1 second. Just 1 second. Just curious about this part. Right. Okay. Just one. Okay. So now let's proceed with this part right here. That's the list that we need. Just 1 second here. Any questions? There we go. Okay.
No question, but time is not on our side.
Oh, it's not on our side. How one for how what's the limit, Crispo? I can probably finish in half an hour. Yep. Because what's coming next is easy. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Okay. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Okay. Just wanted to be through and slow because sometimes I have noticed that I go too fast and I like, oh no. I tried not to go fast anymore. So now here we're just gonna do just one because this is the other item I want you to really take home. Okay. Multiple. There we go. And here now we are just gonna say these two items, color them, close this, the Q function and maybe the T, just for margin sakes. And here we are gonna tell it, hey, look, I want you to do something cool here because this logic right here is the one that is gonna allow me to sort of do the highlighting, okay, or multiple highlighting or single highlighting. Again, pay attention on this part because it can help you with your reporting as well. So we're gonna tell it, hey, look, go ahead to this array if, okay, array here on P1 on P14 equals to the person that is on this call, or that is being called on this cell value by the slicer. Okay, if I do that, maybe I'm missing. I think I should have added. Oh, okay, that's my mistake. You can fix it. We're just gonna carry it down one more. Okay, there we go. If this array that we have here equals to M14, okay, comma, and now we actually go and say, if that's equal, okay, then put an NA. If not, put a 0 for now. For now. And this is what it's gonna do. It's gonna put you an NA, which is the Adriano part, which is the Adriano selection. And that's key because the NAs are not plotted on the chart. You will see this in a minute. And now the other thing is, well, if it's false, then proceed with the following, which is SUMIF, and delete this. And here we want to do 0, 1 data. And maybe we want to, well, hopefully, yeah, that doesn't collide with that. Progressed, or close brackets. Okay, call enter. And then we do 0, 1 data student, in this case, comma, P14. Okay. And now go to the last item, which is gonna be week. 0, 1 data week. There we go. Close parentheses, comma, and 14. Well, in this case, we can also highlight it. Well, I'm just going all over the place. So sorry. And there we go. Close the SUMIF and close the if. And there we go. So we pretty much look, if this condition is not, this logic test is not satisfied, or if it turned out to be true, then put an NA, which is happening right here. But if it's false, then proceed with calculating the progress results, or the progress. Remember, progress percentage is the sales made with against the quota. Potential progress is the leads against the quota, and calculate what is the progress of the corresponding student on the corresponding week 5. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Pay attention. How about if we can grab a multiple selection? Well, I learned something phenomenal, because it's very short and very short on this video right here from Mark Proctor, which is the new filter function. If you want to learn everything about the filter function and its possibilities, this video is phenomenal. So do check it out. I think it's around minute. I'm sending you the link here on the chat. I think on minute right here on based on list, he goes and do count if, but there's something unintuitive right here, that the selection of the arguments is a bit unintuitive, but once you get used to it, you're fine. So that's it. Once you do count if, you're comparing lists. I mean, you can just count if, compare list, and whatever is not on the list, you take it out. So with that said, look at this. And go ahead and check this video, please, after you finish this webinar. Really, totally worth it. So now, let's go to that. There we go. So now here, what I'm gonna do is actually copy all this formula, put it right here. And what I'm just gonna do is actually do this. Look at this. Just replace this part. Count if. And this is a part that is tricky. And I commented, you found my comment on the YouTube video. That criteria range, look at that. The criteria range, you will think, well, what is that? What would that be? That criteria range, you will think that is potentially this, right? Because this is the list that I want my chart to be filtered by or sort by. But it's not. It's actually this one. And then the criteria one will be this one. I mean, actually this one. Oh, confusing with the row. Sorry. So let's do this again. So intuitively, I would think that the criteria range is this, to be honest. And then the criteria range is this. But it's not. It's actually the inverse. So I told that to Mark, and he also agrees. So what you want to do is actually to put this array first, and then this array right here, and that's it. That's it, comma. That's it. So I really hope you take this home, because once you press Ctrl Enter, now if I do Adriano and Myra, look now, and then Heidi, look at this right here, and right here. What do you think? What do you think? I get multiple NAs, multiple comparisons. Something very simple, and I think very useful. I think very useful, especially for multi selections for reports. And with the other one, it's just a single selection. It works, but it's single selection. But in case you want both single selection and multiple selection, then you just need to add the COUNTIF to that, and that's it right there. Any questions? Any comments? I'm just gonna now the hopefully I was through.
No comments, but that was interesting. That was very, very interesting.
Thank you, Cosmo. I know
It's
you
going
are.
to take me a minute to digest it, but I can see the potential in it.
Oh wow, yeah. I know. Coming from you, I mean, you're a formula magician. So yeah, me too. When I saw that, I was like, COUNTIF. But then I never thought of the COUNTIF, because I don't know. Yeah. You need to. Yeah, it's always good to learn from from others all the time.
True.
And then
True.
when I saw the naming of the arguments with the arguments itself that we're putting, it's not intuitive, and I wanted to be clear with that. And also, you'll see the comments and Mark replied to, not intuitive, but you'll get used to it. I mean, and then once you reread the arguments, you might think, okay, you get convinced that okay, I gotta select it on an inverse manner. All right. So now we are about to now highlight or do this part right here. So what I'm gonna do, because we're on time and I'm really apologize. I hope I was through. So right here, just go to the finish file, go to the example, and hopefully, where are we on the agenda? We have talked about the COUNTIF. We have talked about that. The concept of dummy series is from John Pilcher. We'll see this in a minute. And the dummy series eventually, because we want to calculate the access labels of the charts to be something more personalized. In order to do this, look at this. You cannot do you add this icon right here, but with a series, and customize your access labels. And now let's go and proceed with this part right here. I'm just gonna copy this because it's aligned with the other file. Just gonna move that and copy this. It's on U11 right there. Boom, copy that. So what we're about to calculate here is actually the corresponding sales made. Okay, we're about to calculate like individually by the week that it corresponds to these columns right here. Okay, and we just need one formula. Well, not one formula, but we just need one logic right here. And what I'm gonna do is actually, well, let's just call it right here, because I believe it's the same. Yeah, but we just gotta switch that right there. So we can go ahead and cheat and say, hey, look, give me all this right here. Pretty much, yeah. And these two columns is just for the explanation. And now just paste it there. Now color all the cells here and color this gray color. Yep. And now again, now we have the progress made, but again, look at this, because working with tables, I'm just gonna go to this argument right here where the data is, this right here, okay? And now I'm just gonna delete that, and I'm just gonna put, and I'm potentially move this, I know this is annoying sometimes, and sales made, there we go. But you see, I'm actually using intelligence sense. I'm not using my mouse to select manually the range of data or the column of the table. I'm actually using the intelligence. So sales made in this case, press enter. And I get 17 and all that. But I don't actually, oh, so sorry. For this one, it has to be the progress made. We were right on that one. So progress made. Yep, progressed. Again, there we go. And now we're good there. 51 because we're selecting this. Let's just for now What else I'm selecting on this file? Okay, and then on week 9. Yep, okay, we're good. Perfect. And now for the other one, the next one here, okay, again, we just copy this formula again, and we just gotta switch this part right here. We delete this and we put potential percentage. Control Enter. And now we go ahead and select it all and go ahead here and copy it. And for that one, I believe that's gonna be the full 100% on this one, 100%. Okay, we cannot see it, but you see the item right there, all enter. As you can see, very simple, very simple. And now here for the next arrays is actually the inverse of these formulas, of these three. What do I mean by inverse? It's actually, we highlight all this and then we paste it, but the sum if now comes to be the NA. All enter and paste it right there. And then the NA is if it's false. Okay. If it's true that is being selected, then proceed with the sum if and calculate the corresponding progress percentage on the corresponding student on the corresponding week. All enter. Oh, what do I miss? What did I miss? Oh, the comma. As you can see, let me do the next following two, the following two real fast. Highlight this, Control X, all enter, align, spacebar, comma, no, comma, delete this comma and bring this parentheses here, all enter, and then one more, and then the sum if, cut it, NA to the third row, and then bring it here, comma, and then delete this parentheses, just delete all this onto the comma, delete the comma, put the parentheses back again. And look at this. Now you see the pattern where actually this is not highlighted and whatever is the NAs here, let's put it on blue, they're actually going to show on the highlighted columns. So that's why you need, that's how pretty much you set it up. Now this one is also nice because I learned this and this was my very first example. Is how do you sum arrays when you are dealing with the NA? So the way to do it, and you probably saw it on the completed file, that you have to work with the if, okay, and the NA is NA. So if, oh, sorry, gone too fast there. If is NA on U14, U14 right here, then comma 0, else do U14. So because if you have an NA, the sum will not happen. That's the thing. That's why you bring the NA if it's a 0. Okay. And this is again, the zeros are gonna come up when you are completing where the students are until the last week, and many of them have completed their sales. And remember, this was actually a problem I helped with a client. And now you sum that with a plus sign. Actually, we can put the plus sign here and do another if, and is NA and x14, which is this one right here, comma, 0, comma, if not, x14 hash. And there we go. I think I'm missing something. Oh, the parentheses for the NA is NA right there. Okay, there we go. And that's how you pretty much sum arrays in case one of the arrays have the NA arrow value. Okay, and then once you do that, well, what's happening? Not working. What am I missing? Is NA 0? Yeah, I think I have. I think I have everything. But what am I missing? Oh, this comma. Yeah, the comma. Yeah, the comma. Yeah, right there. There you go. And now for the last array before we proceed to the chart. How are we time? How are we in time? We got 15. We got 15. My throw is better. Oh, this one is a bit Jesus, this is a bit okay. So the countif for the highlight, because this right here, this actually last column right here on the completed file, I think I did not label. I think I did not label, well, the highlight. Yeah, I did put the this is what's gonna be going on the axis part of the chart. But for this, what I want to do is actually grab one of these, okay, and actually copy this first part of the argument, put it right there, okay. If it's countif, remember the countif allows us a multiple selection. I'll enter, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna throw that symbol. For now, we're just gonna do an XX, and then I'll replace it. We're gonna do an XX ampersand because I want to concatenate P14, which is and why is it not formatting it? Okay, yeah, the student. Okay, Jesus. Parent ampersand with the parentheses, space, open parentheses, close the quote, another ampersand with rank. Okay, this is a cool part. Give us the rank on AA14. Okay, right there, based on those values, comma, AA14. What am I missing? The rank, open parentheses, of course. And then you do 0 right here for the order. So I think the rank has its own arguments. So it's telling you which number to which reference. In this case, it's a bit sometimes for people with the dynamic arrays introduction, with an introduction to dynamic arrays, they get a little bit trouble because they see, wait, for the number, we're referring a whole array, and for the reference, the same array that we have reference for the number. Yes, you need to switch the mind. You need to open the mind a bit because yeah, it's the way of working with arrays. So we got the 0 there because the 0 now is the order, and there we close another ampersand and we close the parentheses that we put in on quotes, comma. And if this is not completed, we do if it's false, and then this is it right there. There we get these values right there. So I don't want the XX, I want actually the circle. So we go to the completed file, and the completed file right here, we just copy that special circle. And now we go to the other part right here and just replace it right here. There we go. And there we're there. Perfect. And now that we have all these array highlighted, jump all over the place. Look at this. Now let me maybe step back a little bit. Look how the numbers switch as the week passed by. Look at that. That's actually amazing. If you don't find this amazing, again, Crispo knows you need to go to the psychologist. Maybe a spiritual healing, here in South America with ayahuasca, maybe, you need to heal yourself. Your soul needs it. I'm just kidding. But look, it is amazing. I mean, dynamic arrays just offers us so many possibilities. It really in essence the chart library of Excel. It really extends all this, that is native and it's nice, but it really extends it to make stuff that natively it is not so out there. It's not so out there. You need to sort of know these, like the formulas to trick Excel. Okay, let's complete a file here. There we are on the custom access labels. We know that. Now let's referencing and enhance the defaults, and then better looking slicers. Let's finish it. There we go. So now we go to this one, and we need to reference all these arrays. So for example, on the completed files, this is what's going to become repetitive. I'll show you the first one, but then I'll actually tell you that you need to reference each individual array. So I'm going to start with the very first one, because the last one, sorry, because that's the access label. So here, for example, a slicer week, we want to, that we need to put 05 because we already have 4 before, and week, and put slicer. There we go. Oh, actually 5. There we go. So you can see, look at the order. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we go to this array. And here's the thing. For this next array, we want to create new. The one we're going to reference is this one. And we add new. And we're going to do 01, 06, and do axis labels. And you can put this as however you want. But here's a cool thing. If you're going to make a chart for this purpose, I'm just going to choose selection. I want the scope to be example because for the example sake, or for the webinar sake, I want actually the name not to get standard with getting the file name. So that's why I'm choosing an example. But for you, for the professional outlook out there that I hope you probably get inspired from this webinar, is that you always want to select workbook, always workbook. But for this example, and to keep things short, when I'm naming or referencing the names on the chart, I'm just gonna say that this name for define name can only be used and left on this worksheet itself. So example, and then now the last thing is that you need to add to AB the hash. You need to add the hash is what makes it to grab the whole spell, and it grabs a whole spell that it can contract or expand. So click OK. And now we have to repeat this process for all these other arrays. Okay. Perf clicks close. I don't know what happened there. So now bring that, and I'm gonna go right now to this one right here. Click new, and then go to maybe 07, sales made, example, hash. There we go. Go to the next one, 08, and then example, hash. Then click close, go to the next one, pending 09, I believe. Yep. We go there, pending 9. We go there, just making sure. Yep, we're good, we're aligned. And now we go to the next one right here, and we call it 10. Highlighted sales, example, hash, close. Go to the next, the last two. There we go. Number 11, potential sales, example, hash. And then the next one right here, the last one, I believe. So yeah, number 12, that's the last one. Pending, and we can add maybe pending highlighted. And then example, and then the hash. And there we go. See, that's awesome because now you can see it's very more clear that this is what's nice. I actually want to emphasize this, is that I seen before, back in the day when we used to make dynamic charts, we had to deal with index, offset, rows, large, and all cool functions. I still miss them, even though they were very complex to sometimes understand. But we actually brought the define name, or actually the formula, we actually brought it into the define name, meaning you will see here, instead of a reference to a spill range, a formula. And that was sometimes very tricky because you had to go and open this and open the formula and copy the formula to another place to really understand it. Now the formula lives on the spreadsheet, but its spill range dynamics now is just being referenced in a very simple way. So in essence, there's no more formulas being referenced like this, because now we can just reference the spill range. And I think this is nice because it gives me, I can enumerate my work, and also in a simple way I can say, well, what's sales made? Oh, it is located on U14. Okay, so let me go to U14 and see what's happening there. Easy to debug and easy to find. All right, that's it. Let's put this chart. Any comments or and let's say, how many are we doing? 8 minutes. 8 minutes. We'll do it. We'll do it in 2 hours. So right click and then select data. And then select data. And we want to do the first thing, we want to select sales made. And then right here, we delete these sales values and F3. And we want to do sales mail, number 7. Okay, I went too fast. So you open the select data, edit the series, and then on or add series, and then on zeros values. Once you're here, you wanna delete what's in there and do function 3 or FN function 3, depending on your keyboard. Step back, maybe. or maybe, oh, it's not calling it that. But, oh, mm, 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 let me see what's happening on my keyboard now. Let's do it again. Add the sales made, delete this. Oh, there we go. F through F3. You should, when you call function 3 with your keyboard shortcut, or Fn F3 if you're doing it from a laptop, it should bring you this dialog box, paste name. And what you want to choose is actually the number 6. Oh, actually, sorry, the number 7, okay, right there. See again why enumerating your work is easier, because it's easier just to find it. You know that it's 7, or you know that maybe things starts at position 7 and going forward. When you don't have the enumeration, it's kind of hard to find it. We can define many things on textually, but it's harder to find it. Enumerating the work really helps to find things faster. So sales made, click OK, click OK. Now on this one, on the horizontal axis, click there, and now F3, function 3, to call my name, which is gonna be access labels. Click OK, click OK, step back, and now you can see these. Look at this. We can see, and this is why the NA is important, because this is not being plotted. It's blank. And this Beth right here, probably this one, again, not being plotted. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful because it really allows us a greater flexibility to do things like multiple highlighting. So now let's go add potential and delete this, F3, potential sales. There we go. And click OK. And now I messed up on a selection here. I did have to switch this, right click, change chart type, and the one that we want to select is this one right here. That one. Okay. And that one, because that is going to allow us the stacking. I'll step back for the remaining and what's being progress. Okay, let's continue. Select data, add, and now I'm going to add the pending. And now delete this, F3, pending right there. Just want to make sure here with this one, that was the order I set it up. Pending, highlighted sales, potential sales. Yep, there we go. We're good. We're good. Select data, add, highlight it, delete this, F3, highlight sales, add that, add, potential sales, highlight it, of course, and then potential sales. But probably we didn't include that. And we need one more. We need one more. Let's move the chart and right click, select data, add, pending sales, or pending was the percentage, and that's gonna be the last one, potential pending highlighted. And there you go. Oh, what's happening here? What's happening here? Why is it all looking like this? Oh, I don't know. Something got fixed. I don't know what happened. A bit of a glitch there. Usually everything happens live, right? Okay. Oh, there we go. Now let's step back a little bit. And now I'm about to just format this and make it all pretty. Make it all like the finished file. So the thing that we want to do is basically just use simple colors here, because you can see, look at how many hues are being shown here. In this case, I'm just gonna step back and do this. Okay, perfect. So first thing, let's color these. Let's click on the bars, Control-1, and then on the gap width right here, potentially you may see these on your screen docked, but you can undock it. Left click on the title and then drag it down and just pull it like that. You have to hold down your left click and then move it to the left. And now what I want to do here on the gap width right here, we want to increase this, and I believe to 50%. There we go. And now we click on the blue bars and right click left, and we want to use like this blue, light blue. There we go. And now for the bars right here corresponding to the blue, to this light blue, we want to do a very light gray. That is subtle, that we can still see, but it's subtle. On the axis, on the x-axis, just press, double click it. This is another trick that I learned on Leila's Garani's business chart course for somebody in the comments. he said that, hey, if you double click on the chart element, it's like Control 1 too. So before I used to click on the chart element and then Control 1, but you can also do double click on the chart element and it just pops its options, its corresponding options too, which is awesome. And here we want to do 1. There we go, because we know it's 100%. Then for the potential cells, which is the orange part, we want to do this, Control 1, and probably this was Crispo was very interested to know. Look, very simple. You go to fill, you go to fill options, you go to pattern fill, and then you just select this one. But that's it. And look, you have many options, and it's nice. You have many options here. I choose that one, but then the one thing that is missing here maybe is the color. So maybe what happened here? Wait, let's do one thing here. Control 1 right here. Oh, okay. First of all, no fill. But wait, what? How come we can? Okay, solid fill. First of all, yeah, solid fill. You need. Good thing that this happened. First of all, you need to define a color. So I'm gonna select the same blue as the other one, so you can't tell the difference. But once you select that color, then the pattern fill is gonna be according to that color right there, and that's what gets you that effect right there. And then for the other ones, the orange, the yellow, it steals the yellow, but click on this blue, double click it, and then you go to the fill options, you go to solid fill, you want it to be that yellow right there, but on the pattern fill, you switch it to be this one right here. But here, one thing, for some reason, it didn't highlight this, and this can happen. That's why sometimes I'm a bit careful. So I'm gonna step back, and I'm just gonna step back again, and step back again, step back. Well, I did wanted to highlight those. So when you click on this element, just make sure that all of them are selected. Meaning, look at these blue, light blue dots. Just make sure they're all selected, because that will mean that you're about to format all those chart elements as a group and not individually. That what just happened here. I just formatted that one, but I didn't format these two, and that's trouble. Okay, so step back, and now Control 1, or yep, well, Control 1, and add the fill option here and do solid fill. We already have that, but pattern fill, and then we add these fills right here. There we go. And then for the other bars right here, right click, or actually click on the bars, Control 1, and we want a bit of a solid fill, but we want a hard, like a darker gray, darker but not so dark. And there you go. This is pretty much the chart. Now you can maybe click this on this axis and turn it to yellow. I mean, sorry, white. So it looks like transparent. Why am I doing that? Because I do want to leave a bit of a space of margins. You see the grid lines on the back? You can click on the grid lines and delete it. Take them out. We're not going to use them. Click on the center of the chart and you will get to the plot area. Oh, hard to do, hard to do. I admit that, but we'll get there. There we go. We got the plot area because we know that it's being selected. And then once you're there, you can actually make this smaller to have space for the title. Now step back. And now the other thing that we want to do is add the labels. So for the labels, check this out. You click on the labels here, click on the bars, right click, add data labels, right click on these bars, add data labels, click on these darker grays bars, add the labels, and, and that's it. I think I didn't add labels for the potential cells. No labels for the potential cells. Although labels for the highlighted cells, yes. And now you click on those labels and do Control 1, and then collapse the label options, go to number, and you're gonna repeat this for the other labels too, and you decrease it to be 0. So that way it's constant like that. And then one more thing, on the label options, you want it to be inside base, so it's all aligned. And you click on that too, and you do for the highlighted labels, inside base, number, and you tell it to be percentage, no decimals. And you do this for that, but here is the inside end, to be aligned to the right. And then on category, percentage, and then here you take out the zeros, and then you do that for the highlighting. So as you can see, we're touching one of the points, which is enhancing the default. Enhancing the default is sacrosanct for me. Don't never leave the default as is, because then you don't go to heaven. No, just kidding. But you mean you need to really like look. Just it's just about the clicks, Look, and it just look different compared to the default settings that Excel gives you. This looks more. I don't want to use the word attractive, but attractive makes it for your decision makers to see what is this chart, and then once you get your attention, then you tell them, hey, look, these are the three persons that potentially maybe we need to work on, or maybe these three, or maybe not Robert, but maybe Heidi, okay, maybe not Osvaldo, but maybe Maggie, okay, that hey, look, the sales are not doing good. They started very low, they started, better, but now they're in the last place, and they have sort of maintained them place on the last place on the last 3 weeks. They have increased their sales, but they haven't performed well or faster than the other persons. What else? What else is here? Oh, and then I think just to finish this to make it look better, okay. Another point of attention, okay. The title and all that is very simple, or maybe the legend, okay. This one thing I do want to mention: add the legend, okay. Once you add the legend on these options, you can just go click on the chart, and these options right here, you click on the plus sign, go to legend, but on the legend options you want to do top. And then once you have on top, look at this, we don't need all these items. So the way to delete an item is actually click on the legend and click on the darker side, for example, right here. And once you second click, you get those blue icons right there. And you can now delete an item of a legend. And now delete it, delete another one like this, and delete it. And then that's it, those four. Eventually, right now, potentially you may argue, hey, but okay, the blue, it's just to signal that what is the yellow means? Well, the highlighted. What is the blue means? Well, the sales made. And then what is the pattern ones means? Well, the potential sales. And then the potential sort of gray other one is the potential remaining part that it needs to be, or to complete the 100%. 100. Once they surpass the 100, it doesn't matter anymore. That was also the requirement. I don't need to know if he did 110 or 104. I just need to know that they completed sales. That's my target is 100. So okay, so that's why I
Hi,
said
Carlos.
Limit. Yep.
Sorry, my laptop is about to die. We have
No worries. Okay, no worries.
Here.
No worries, no worries. Okay, well, but
Yes.
for the slicers, pretty much just pay attention in what minute I do it.
Yeah.
The slicer option here, and then duplicate. Okay, go to click the slicers that you want to. Click on this tab. Click on this option. Click on any of them. Right click, duplicate. Do style, whatever name you preferred, and then go to whole slicer, format, and then go to border. Click none. Go to fill. No, that's it. And font size, you want to do number 8, and then Arial. Yeah, for sure, Arial. But I don't know. I don't see Arial. Well, sorry for that. Arial, right there, perfect. And then that's it. This is the other trick. The header format. Go to border. Click none again. Click OK. And now here is potentially the last part. Click on select items with data, click format, and then on the border, you want to deselect this one right here and this one right here. So deselect those two. Once you do that, you get the button effect. And then on fill, go and select the yellow, deselect more colors, go to, actually cancel, go to fill effects right here, and then go to the same color right there, and then you select this variant right here, this one, and then click OK, and now click OK, and now a slicer, and select that one, and there you go. That's the whole part right there. The cool thing is, look, these slicers, they look, well, this one looks a little bit bulky, but let's just decrease the width. And yep, this is what I did on the other one, pretty much. One more enhancement right there, but potentially this is, look, and it just makes the highlighting or the color of the slicers to correspond to what's being highlighted. And for this one right here, same thing. You can just duplicate it, duplicate the one that you build, duplicate it, and say style 2, yeah. But for the color for selected item, you don't want to be, you want to be a light gray. For the field effect, just a light gray, something light, not very, not very too strong. Why? Because it's the wicks. And now you go click that slicer, and with this, we're done. And there you go. Look at that. And if you look closely, very closely, look, that gives you a special effect, like a 3D effect, subtle, but it's there. I mean, just to make it more than a simple highlight and everything. And I think maybe I forgot that for the other buttons, you can just maybe, no, I didn't. Well, I kind of did, but okay. You can just maybe, you know where to remove this border and this border to even move, to even make it look more, bit more buttonish for the items that are not selected, that have data but are not selected. And that's it. That's it. I'm glad we cover. I think we cover everything. If not, you can message me on LinkedIn and let me know if we didn't cover any of these. But I think we may cover everything. Yeah, we did. We did. Concept of dummy series. The dummy series, just in case if we didn't touch it, is actually this one right here. The dummy series is this one. Well, actually, precisely not the dummy series for this, but it was that series. We needed that series in order to get the access label. So a bit of a hybrid dummy series. But in essence, the dummy series example, it is that we plotted to get some sort of effect on the chart that is just dummy. I just need that dummy presence there in order to get some a special effect. But this last column where we sum in the arrays were needed in order to get the ranking and these custom access labels items. That's it. Crispo, I'm so sorry. And now we're finished.